Hi, I'm Dianne Hart, CEO of East Tampa Business and Civic Association. I'm your host today for TampaNewsAndTalk.com. Today we have a phenomenal guest that will join me. Her name is Miss Pamela McCoy. She has written this wonderful book, BONA5DCC, where inspiration and intellect collide with your finances. I'm really excited about bringing her on so that you all get an opportunity to hear why she wrote the book and some of the phenomenal things that are in her book. So at this time, we're going to bring on Miss Pamela McCoy. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. I've had an opportunity to read your magnificent book.
Oh, excellent.
The book is really thought-provoking.
Wow.
And it's a really, really good read. Not only do you give financial tips, but you also give some life tips as well in the book. And I found that very, very interesting.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That was the intent when I wrote the book, so that's heartwarming and pleasing that I hit the mark.
Yeah, you absolutely did. The best part is it's not a hard read at all. And there's lots of information to help people get through their finances. But not only do you help us get through some finances, you help us to deal with some everyday issues.
Yes.
So I'd like to spend a little time just kind of talking about the book and some of the passages that you have in the book. I was just blown away. I kept reading my book and reading my book. So the first thing, what I found interesting was you talk about educate, empower, evolve, enlighten, and enrich. And then in each one of those, you break it down. When you talk about educate, point to ponder. Can you tell us a little bit about that? On page 2, you talk about the success and hard work and how the two go together. I found that interesting.
Well, first off, the 5 E's, those are the motto of my company. And so everything I do as it relates to my company, Bonafide Credit Consultants, is related to those 5 E's, and that is our mission and our goal and everything that we do and every individual or group that we have an opportunity to serve. We want to educate them, to empower them, to enrich their lives. We want them to evolve. We want to enlighten them in everything that they do. And again, even though everything is revolving around the financial capability education, it really is much deeper than that. We want to give them tools that they can use to fuel their financial capability and fuel their lives, but we want them to really be empowered and enriched in all areas of their life.
And that you have done in the book. I mean, my 28-year-old son was just today picked up your book. I was at the hospital, and he opened it up, and success, which you write about on page 2, and it was kind of interesting to me, and he said, well, success is focusing the full power of all you are on what you have burning desire to achieve. And he was like, maybe I could write that down my arm.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, that's empowering. I don't do tattoos, but the millennials, they take a new approach. And really, when I wrote the book, it really is for all ages. And so, that's encouraging. It means a lot to me that someone, of his age group can find something. And again, when I wrote the book, it was my desire that there would be something for everyone in the book, from teens and tweens right up to the seniors.
That's right. And there really is.
Everyone would find something in the book. And so, in the 5 categories, which are the 5 E's, there is an inspiration, and then there would be a life application, and then a financial application in each of those. And an interesting, side story, one of the things I always say when I can't explain something that happens in my life is #GISCC, which is God is so crazy cool.
Yes, he is.
And so when I was writing the book, I said to my husband, I don't know how many inspirations in these 3 categories, the 3 components will be in each of the 5 categories, but I wanted it to be even. Right? And so as I'm writing the book, of course, there's several iterations that you go through to get it just right. And so I'm going through these iterations, and I didn't realize it until I had the first printed copy in hand. There is actually 11 in each of the 5 categories.
And you had no idea that there was actually 11 in each?
Right. And so, of course, 11 times 5 is 55.
Absolutely, it is.
So everything is done in fives, i.e. bona fide. and so, you know, that just kind of blows my mind, and that's one of those hashtag GISCC kind of moments. But, you know, for him to glean success and something that he can use in this book, that means a lot to me.
I was so surprised because he just picked it up. I was at the hospital looking at it, and he said, "Let me see, what are you reading?" And so he looked at it and he was like, "I could use this." I said, "Absolutely." But you know what I realized? All throughout the book, you talk about how important it is to work for it.
Absolutely.
That it does not come just because you think about it.
Exactly.
You know, even though you talk about how it is necessary to put it down on paper to be able to go back and look at your affirmations every day, but you go on to say you still have to work for it.
Absolutely. You know, success only in the dictionary.
Right.
Only in the dictionary
does success
become before work. You've got to put in the work. You've got to put in the work.
Yeah. And I found that very, very interesting. And on this page where you talk about you cannot half step on what you desire to accomplish, means you really have to put in everything you have.
It's about a mindset. Everything is about a mindset. You know, you've got to first make up your mind that this is something that I want to do.
Right.
You know, because like anything else, there's going to be times on the journey where it's going to get tough and you're going to want to waver.
Absolutely.
You know, and so if you've not first made up your mind that this is something that I seriously want to do, and those moments when the going gets tough, you're going to want to give up.
Right, right.
So.
And we know that happens especially a lot with our younger people. But it still happens with the older people.
With older people as well.
Everybody, everybody.
Absolutely.
But seems to happen more so with our young people. It's not happening fast enough.
Yes.
So then I'm going to just go do something else instead of staying with it. But it happens to everybody.
And not just with your finances, really.
Right.
In life. It's a life principle.
Right, right. That's why I found that in each one of these, I mean, you tie it all back together. You know, the life application ties right into the financial credit application. This concept also holds true as we speak about our finances.
Yes.
Your desire to get out of debt, you can't create a spending plan and then not follow it.
Absolutely. It has no value. If you take the time to create the spending plan and then don't follow it, then the spending plan then has zero value.
Absolutely.
Zero value. So you just wasted time in writing it down.
Right. That was just a waste of energy because you did not bother to follow it. And you know, I find being a credit counselor that it is really, really critical that people understand that, that they need to be on a good budget. There's some things that they really need to do to prepare themselves for financial futures if they want to get to that place. But throughout the book, I noticed that you talk about not just how to fix their credit. You do talk a little bit about that. It is not just calling up your creditors and making, but you have to follow through on everything you do. But what I really love about the book is you keep going back to work. You have to work for it. You got to put it in. It doesn't happen without it.
And it's sacrifice. And that's part of that putting in the work is making the sacrifice. You didn't get into the financial circumstance or situation overnight.
Right.
So you won't get out of it overnight. And so you've got to, again, make up your mind that I want to make the change.
Right.
And then follow through with the work that is required to make that change.
If you're content with the best you have done, you will never become the best you can be. I was like, okay, sister, she is on it.
That's a point to ponder, something to marinate on.
Settling versus selecting. I'll settle for it. Not thinking you're worthy of better. I mean, when you think of it in terms of everyday life, you realize that these are applications I can use in everything, not just in my finances. But in my general daily walk.
Daily walk, relationship. Money. And money is a relationship. You know, how do you think and feel about money? Really, some of those same concepts are how you think and feel about another person, you know, relationally. And so it is some of these same principles that I teach or refer to in this book about money, and that's why I say, you know, I give you the inspiration, a life application as well as a financial application, because so many of the principles are intertwined or interchangeable as relates to, you know, life and money.
Well, you've done a phenomenal job of doing that. Like on page 5, your dreams, your destiny, success, and work. And I'm a believer that if God gives you a vision, He'll give you a means to achieve it, but you have to work.
But you have to work.
Won't happen unless you go out and do the work for it.
Yes, and speaking, I'm biblically, and I know everybody's not there in terms of their spirituality or what have you, but in that regard, there's nowhere in the Bible where he does anything
without work,
without you doing something first.
That's
like
right.
You have to do your part. He'll do his part, guaranteed. He will do his part, but you got to do your part first.
Right.
And,
like you say, take control of your dreams, your destiny. There's no way around putting in the work. Again, it's always about work.
Absolutely. You just can't get away from putting in the work.
No, you cannot. And then the life application is anything worth having is worth working for. Typically,
if it was easy, everybody would do it.
You get out what you put in. So the question is, how hard are you willing to work?
Yes.
And having been a 36-year business owner, I know that you have to really work. You're working when everybody else is home asleep. And that's a true.
And the only way you're willing to do that is because you really want it.
That's right.
You really want it, and so you're willing to put in that sacrifice
for the
reward.
Right.
And so financially speaking, successful changing your financial circumstance also will require work. Work to change your behavior.
That's right.
Work to stick with the plan. Work to sustain the needed sacrifices to accomplish the goal. Work to generally transfer the knowledge gained on the journey. There is no quick fix.
Nope.
A great credit score does not start high.
Nope.
That accomplishment requires hard work.
Absolutely.
That said, a low score does not get high by hiring an agency or disputing accurate information that is reported in the credit report. The only legitimate, and can I stress, legitimate way to improve your score is hard work and time. Though success only comes before work in the dictionary, financial success is possible.
For everybody.
For everybody. You just got to put in the work and apply the right tools.
Absolutely, you have to work.
And so, don't be afraid of hard work. And to that end, if you are having some financial distresses or have made some, I won't say bad financial decisions, just some,
bad might be, that's all right. They're not a bad, but
maybe just not the best, we'll say, financial decisions.
Which we've all done
there's
in
no
life.
Better time than today to make better financial decisions. Just start today. When you know better, you do better.
Absolutely. You say in the book, you say don't look in the rearview mirror. You got to look out the.
Absolutely. You can't drive a car looking in the rearview mirror. And I tell my
clients
back
there. Now it's time
to
stay
forward. To stay forward. And so don't beat yourself up. I tell my clients really there's only one true value in visiting those poor decisions, and that's really just to learn the lesson. Once you've learned that lesson, you've got to move on.
Right. And not repeat that.
That's the purpose in learning the lesson, so that you don't repeat it.
Right.
You can't wallow in it and stay there because you can't progress.
Right.
So, this is 2018. Time for new beginnings, new things. Learn the lesson, and let's move on. And so, if you're not, in a position in terms of knowledge on how to do that, reach out for help. My website will be posted. www.bona5dcc.com. I'm ready, willing, and able to help you. To give you the knowledge, the tools that you need. But don't give up. Don't say you can't do it. All it takes is a change in mindset and a willingness to put in the work. That's all it requires.
Work.
That's all it requires.
The word.
The work.
The word is work.
That's it. That's all.
And he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. And
all you need is, why do I want to do this? And if you have a why, and a why is for anything and everything in your life. Again, why do you get up in the morning? Why do you go to your job? And everyone's why is different.
Right.
And even at different points in time in your life, your why can change.
Absolutely.
I was listening to the radio the other day, and I think it was an interview that Steve Harvey did with DJ Khaled, and he was talking about he never knew what being a man really was until his son was born. and now he really has a why. And what is his why? He loves someone more than he loves himself. And that is the true definition of being a man, when you can say, I truly, truly love someone more than I love myself and life itself. And that's what his son did for him. So that's his why. That's why I get up in the morning. That's why he goes to work. That's why he takes a breath in the morning. That's why he does everything he does, is his son. And so we all have a why.
Absolutely.
And that why drives everything. And when you have a strong why, the how, you do everything.
Right.
It just happens.
It'll take place. Well, we're going to get into empower. And I'm on page 19, where repetition of affirmation, deep convictions, and self-talk. That hit home because I do that all the time. Because you have to remind yourself of why it is and what you're doing. And it's not even, you need to sometimes just put it on mirrors all around the house, all over the places that you're in the most of the time. So you're looking at the reason why I'm doing this. This is what I want, but I can't get it unless I work for it. But I need to be looking at it sometimes to just reaffirm in my mind that's where I'm trying to get to. So we call that a vision, making a vision board, basically, where you create the board to be able to look at it. But yeah, you talk about empowering and deep conviction, knowing absolutely this is absolutely what I want.
And self-talk.
I want to be.
I mean, self-talk, that self-esteem. And really, I say in reference self-talk because not always will you have someone in your circle that will encourage you. And so sometimes you have to encourage yourself.
Absolutely. And not be afraid to encourage yourself.
And it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Because you have to love yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you absolutely do. You absolutely do. And then you put it right back into a financial credit application.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's phenomenal how you just interconnect each one of them every single time. So it's really enjoyable to read. It's easy to read and it's easy to understand. So it makes it easy for anybody reading your book to really be able to understand what's going on. You say self-talk, an important part of the process on the path to financial freedom. There will be times when you may want to give up because naysayers will definitely be in your path.
Yes.
There's no question. They will be there. But you will just have to brush them off and keep moving on. Keep talking to yourself.
Keep talking to yourself. And again, in the book, in this particular context, we're talking about your money.
Right.
But again, in life, it could be talking about your dream.
Right.
It could be talking about, you know, a business that you wanted to start.
Right.
It could be talking about you going to college or graduating from college or beauty school or whatever it is.
Right, right.
You know, don't let those naysayers
stop you.
Take you away
from
my dream.
Your dream. Absolutely.
And
if you have a
dream
dream, go out to achieve it. But you have to work for it.
But you got to put in the work.
It won't happen unless you're working for
Absolutely.
it. It won't happen unless you're working for it. So it's the whole entire book is a true inspiration, you know, and how you tie it back to finances make it so simple. It's like, I can do that.
Absolutely.
I think anybody
and that was the
book
goal. So I'm so pleased to hear that I hit the mark, because that was the goal, that it was a quick, easy read. It's only 69 pages. And the goal was that, you know, the readers would read through it quickly the first time, because I want them to read it and reread it and reread it and flag their pages as everyone has, and put their flags and highlight it, their favorites, and go back and, you know, and share it with friends, and, you know, those kind of things, and that it will speak to them multiple times, and each time you read it, it'll have something else to say.
And that's so true, because you read it the first time and you may miss something. The second time you'll pick up something that you didn't see the first time.
Absolutely.
And on. Each time you will get something a little different. And as you progress, then the book means something different you start to read through it.
So when you read it this month, if you read it 6 months from now, it's going to say something different to you, because you have other life experiences. Your finances will be in a different place than they are today, because you've implemented some of the things that you've learned.
Where can they get your book?
They can purchase the book via my website, which is www.bona5, and the Bonafide is spelled different, BONA, number 5, D as in dog, C as in cat, C as in cat.com. If you're an e-reader, it's available on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. A lot of people are.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
so
if you
that
want the
makes
hard
it
copy, it's on
easy
the
to get.
website. If you're an e-reader, it's available on Amazon.
I kind of like hard copies because then I'll have my book and
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
old
wake up in
school
the middle
too,
of the
so
night.
I'm a
and I can
highlighter
pull up
and,
my
you know,
book.
flagging
I like to
pages.
put my book next to my bed and I can,
Yes.
something's going on in my mind, I can grab the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I find that really comforting to be able to actually get my book.
Yep, but
without
I want to
having
meet everybody
get up.
where they're at. So if you're an e-reader, I want to meet that need too.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Let's go to Evolve
Mm-hmm.
and talk a little bit about what's going on in that chapter, and that starts on page 32.
Mm-hmm.
Evolve and change, because that's what you have to do. You have to grow and make
Yes.
the necessary changes to move forward with your life and your finances.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your thought in this chapter?
Well, on page 32 in particular, that says the best thing about the past is that it shows you what not to bring into your future.
Absolutely.
Meaning that's that life lesson. So we always focus on the front windshield and not on the rear view mirror, which we were just talking about. And that's a quote from Colin Powell.
Oh, okay.
You know,
so you can't go back to the beginning?
Right, you can't.
Just have to
It's
start
over
from
and
here
done.
move forward.
Exactly. And you know, that's something, even though it's simple, I think we all kind of lose sight of that sometimes, and we kind of get caught in that you know, that, you know, coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and all of that. And so as we journey through this process called life, there are experiences that we really should choose to leave behind. And just learn the lesson and just leave it.
And move on. Can't become what we need by remaining the same. Can't stay right there.
Exactly.
Again, everything ties back. That all ties together. Your life, the life experiences, the affirmations, then the financial application.
Absolutely.
Every single one of them you've tied in so well together to help anybody to be able to make some changes. But I don't want them to forget that sometimes they need the financial expert.
Absolutely.
To help them make
and
it through.
And it's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely.
It's okay to ask for help. You know, if you're sick, you go to the doctor.
That's right.
And so there's no harm in asking for financial help. You know, and today more than ever, you know, we really need to get a handle on our personal finances.
Absolutely.
And that's what Bona5 is here to do, is to help individuals, groups, families to get a hold of their personal finances,
And
their
that's
budgeting.
great.
To, you know,
So
to
do you do
prepare
any
them.
seminars?
I do workshops and seminars as well as one-on-one consultations. So, you know, really reach out if you have questions, you know, or just really kind of overwhelmed or daunted by your personal finances, your credit report.
Right.
You know, what does that really mean? What does your credit score really mean? Is your credit score not what it needs to be? You know, because what your credit score does is the impact is not just for today, it's long term.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're buying a home or a car, it doesn't mean you can't get credit when your credit score is low, but the cost of credit
Right. That's
over
what
the
really
life of the
hurts you.
loan
Right.
is
right.
significant. It could be very significant for you.
Kind of since the fallout in 2007, buying homes, they've made that credit process a little bit more tedious, which they needed to,
Right.
so that people really don't get taken advantage of like they used to
Right.
at 13 and 14% interest rates when the interest rate's like 4%.
Right.
And as a housing provider, I really get to see people wanting to have just that little piece of the American dream, but not quite able to achieve it until they get that credit score just right. So that's where Pamela comes in, and that's where this phenomenal book comes in.
Absolutely.
Because you get an opportunity to better understand
Yes.
what's happening with your credit. And it's people like Pamela that you can sit down with, and she'll be happy to go over your credit score and talk about what it is you need to do to help your credit score to go up and those type of things. So
Absolutely, one-on-one consultations,
Yeah.
and I'm in the process actually of writing my second book.
Oh, are you?
Which will be, you know, this one is more, I would say, inspiration with a splash of finance. The next book will be the exact opposite, more finance with a splash of inspiration. So it'll actually give you more hands-on tips and information and tools as it relates to finance, some of the things that I actually cover in workshops and seminars and things like that. So stay tuned, you know, follow me on all my social media stuff and, you know, my website and all of that.
And what's your website?
www.bona5dcc.com.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
So people can reach out to you on
You can
your
reach out on my
website.
website or call me at 813-495-8568. Yeah, and love to help you, and you know, check out this book and stay tuned for the second book. And you know, credit, finance, personal money management, it's so very, very
It's
important.
critical.
So it's critical.
Yeah, it really
critical
is.
for
It's
families,
really
critical
is.
for individuals. So
And we have to teach our children
yes.
very early.
Yes.
Because it's not being taught in school.
It's not
but
being taught in
it's an important topic, but they don't discuss it in school. So we as parents have got to equip ourselves with the tools necessary to teach our children.
And quite frankly, a lot of families aren't talking about it at home.
Nope.
And
Kids don't
so
ever know what it's like to pay bills.
They
know
don't
if they're
hear
behind.
about it
Right,
until they're on
exactly.
their own, and then unfortunately until their credit is ruined is when they find out.
So true.
You know, and so, you know, my goal is really to get the education out there before things are bad.
Right.
You know, because unfortunately kids use credit the way their parents use credit, good, bad, or indifferent. That's their
Especially
only
because they
point
don't
of
know.
reference
Right,
until
right,
they know
right.
better. So, you know, we just really as you know, as a culture, as a community,
Right.
need to take a stronger stance as relates to financial capability education.
Right, and spend a little bit more time informing our children about credit and what it is. Because when you go off to college, everybody sends your credit card application, and you're pre-approved because you don't have anything bad on your credit.
Yeah, we're doing a better job at that than we've done in the past in terms of the Credit Card Act kind of did some work with staving that off, but we're still just not really understanding credit
Right.
and making wise money
Decisions.
management decisions.
Right.
And so we're still getting in debt and not really managing that well.
Right.
And so then we find ourselves in precarious situations, you know, that could be avoided.
Something else that's critically important that we need to spend a little bit more time on, besides our budgets and getting our finances, we need to teach our children to save. If it's only $5,
Yes.
we've got to
Behaviors.
get into
It's
a
about the
pattern.
behavior.
That's right.
And
of
the earlier we
saving.
start, the better.
That's right. That's
And
right.
if we start with our piggy banks, back in the day,
That's
we
right.
had piggy banks and passbooks. We don't even kids don't even know what a passbook is, and we had those back in the day, and we really need to get back to that.
Well, Pamela, I really, really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
You are quite welcome. You're quite welcome. Tampa Bay News and Talk is Tampa's last place news. And we're excited about the show. You can watch all of the shows on TampaBayNewsAndTalk.com right online. So if you miss a show, come back in, catch it again.
Yes.
Because it will be showing several times. So we're very excited about the show today. Thank you very much. I'm Dianne Hart with East Tampa Business and Civic Association, where I'm happy to be the CEO.